Hello, this is the re-release of this video because the original had really quiet audio for some reason, which obviously, considering this video is all about music and video games, is not ideal. But yeah, I fixed it up now and changed a few things. Enjoy. I never liked music growing up, especially Christmas music, which we've been hearing a lot lately. However, I've grown to appreciate music in video games. Of course, this could be because most of them don't have lyrics, and I've never liked lyrical music, but we'll get to that. Reason number one, it's music without lyrics. I get so annoyed with music with lyrics now for, well, I feel that people's voices takes away from the instruments themselves. In video games, there is a far more discernible rhythm to the music in games because they are just discernible beats, strings, drums, and if they're feeling fancy, maybe some chanting or choir. You know, you can use the human voice as an instrument, but I don't get the idea of just talking. Like, I don't get how the human voice talking in long notes can be considered the main instrument of a song. One of the most simple examples, and because it sounds really good, is the God of War Rage of Sparta soundtrack. As you can almost hear Kratos' name being chanted, but you can also hear all the drums and everything, and it isn't like a lyrical, it's chanting, it's choir. Reason number two, emotional significance. This one can go for shows and movies, but I feel there's more impact in games, as you're actively a part of the story. Music being used to make us feel something is nothing new in any form of media, but it does change the perspective of listening to a soundtrack again, not in the game. In other words, it's contextual. If you hear it having played the game, hearing it again, it sounds different to hearing it having never touched the game. Last year I played Sally Face, and before I say anything, spoilers ahead, I never thought much about the game, I'm gonna be honest. It sounded like a really edgy and almost a cartoonish game. You remember those kind of creepy cartoons that'd play every now and again? Usually stop motion or animated really weirdly. This game gave me those same vibes. So I expected it to be like that. A little creepy, edgy, but ultimately not all that much. Of course, I knew it was going to be a bit more bloody than those old cartoons. This was an indie horror game. Of course it is. The soundtrack, especially the main menu soundtrack, hammered home this idea. The game seemed like it was going to be very episodic, with each episode not really impacting the next. I assume that was kind of right, but by chapter 4 that changed, but I'm not going to spoil that. But at the end of the first chapter, this happens. I don't think you were a murderer, Sal. You might be the only one. So I'm a prisoner! This changed the main soundtrack for me. It now meant a whole lot more, and almost sounds different. I strongly recommend you either check out the game yourselves or watch someone play through it. It is underappreciated and excellent. Reason number three, communicating threat. I love Left 4 Dead 2. I've done a whole review on it. It's like an hour long. And it uses music brilliantly and is really unique in how it uses it for a video game. There are distinct songs and stingers for different enemies, the most climactic of which being that of the tank. Left 4 Dead hasn't been the only game to do this, of course. We've had Vermintide that does the exact same thing with its hordes and boss monsters.
Have a blaze ready for that pack!
We'll do it down. I'm a mortal of flame! By the hammer! Supplies attack!
Hurry themselves, Kaya!
Reckon ain't no match for us!
What Vermintide does great here, along with Left 4 Dead 2, is that the sound of the enemies, their stomping, running, their marching drums, skittering and chanting, and the sounds of demons are mixed into the soundtrack, whether literally or with instruments like fast drums to represent the running. The music instantly tells you something bad is coming and the level of threat it possesses. There are plenty more examples of this kind of use, but I have to plug the other Tide game, Darktide, purely because of the Imperial mix of disposal unit that plays during assassinations. It's just, I can't put it in the words. It's empowering, but doesn't feel like a power trip. Just listen to this.
You'll get it after like level 2, I believe.
Necrobugs scurrying underfoot.
This is my favourite soundtrack in the game.
I can't tell if I'm hitting a teammate or an enemy because it comes up as a blue marker. Great puzzle. This probably doesn't have a longer range, but it is a pistol, so... I must say, I really like this.
Oh, been trapped.
Alright, someone's down.
Oh shit, I've been hit by the trapper. Oh, I'm trapped. And I'm nearly about to go down.
I'm just keeping the boss at parity at the moment. Get them up, I'll hold the boss.
Alright, they're up, they're up.
Alright, start shooting him while I'm holding them in melee.
Be careful with the hell.
I love this music.
Dude, we're both trying to keep them off.
Another heretic put to the side.
Reason number 4. Power. It's as simple as that. Music can make us feel powerful. It affects how we play games, our focus, and a plethora of other things. It's why in a game like COD you might be listening to Spotify in the background, it helps you focus a bit better, but very few games have this built in. I can't really think of any games that have that sort of built into the multiplayer. I can think of one game that does this fantastically in single player. Doom Eternal. There are a few things that make Doom's soundtrack work so well. Number 1, it's dynamic. Will change rhythm if you're shot, shooting, doing a glory kill, etc. So it's always hitting the right beat or drop at the right moment. So the music has the choreography of a film, but it's a game. Also, the amount of like drops in Eternal soundtrack is something else. Every track has like 4 bass drops and goes back to 110% each time. Also, there's like over 20 tracks in the game for different levels, bosses, areas, and so it's never the same thing over and over again. And again, combine that with it being dynamic, it is unmatched in its power trip. If Doom Eternal didn't have its music, it wouldn't be nearly as good. And I don't think players would play as aggressively as they do. Reason number 5. Climax. I'm really just referencing this so I can talk about Halo CE in 3's Warthog run, as well as Reach's Mongoose run. I cannot think of anything else that matches them in scale and spectacle. There are dynamic aspects to the music, and a lot of the points from Reason 4 come into play here. The difference is, it isn't empowering. The music doesn't lift you up, it lifts the entire thing up. The whole Halo soundtrack is great at this. It's strange and really good at making those set piece moments stick out way more. Also, can we just appreciate how easy it is to drum out the Warthog thing for 3? Da 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 da.
The dawn is close. We can make it, as long as the ground doesn't fall out beneath us. 90%! Firing sequence initiated!
Reason number 6. Character development? Yeah, I mean that. I know character development sounds like a really weird reason to like music in video games. But this comes back to what I said about lyrics. I don't hate lyrics. I deeply dislike them. Especially when the singing contributes nothing of value to the song. I'm looking at rappers here. So what's my exception? And why the hell does it have to do with character development in video games? Oh my friend, it's time we enter the wonderful world of Metal Gear Rising. It is a soundtrack for every single boss fight, unique with its own lyrics. Which is nothing new. Games have had music with lyrics for ages. The difference being is that this music and the lyrics are heavily themed around the characters to the point that they give character development. For instance, the first track, Rules of Nature, sort of describes how Raiden thinks and sees the world, and the Metal Gear. No more than a starving beast close to its last breath. master now is the main theme of the robo-dog you fight. I mean, the title of it alone, you can kind of get exactly what it's trying to get at. The robo-dog in question has an incredibly smart intelligence, but can't question the orders it's given. It's interesting.
Superficial damage.
Mistral has my favourite OST. It's especially good because she gets maybe a few minutes of screen time where she gets a chance to speak. So this OST really helps solidify their character and their motives. That being, like everything they fight for is pointless. That they're just a killing machine. At least she used to see it as pointless. Now she almost fights for it in a way. They're her ideals.
Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive. Come, manga.
I can handle a lot more than this. Let's have a little fun.
Now, as a little bonus to the re-release of this video, why don't we listen to the best soundtrack in Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty? Because all of the footage you see throughout the video used to be Starfield, but now it's Cyberpunk, so I thought let's give it some tribute.